This is a stock analysis update for Cornish Metals. Before I start this video, please remember I do them just for fun as a hobby and always speak to a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. If you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I've done 2 videos already on Cornish Metals. These are over an hour of content. So if you're interested in Cornish Metals, you really want to take a look at those videos. This is only going to be a quick update. But when I last looked at them, I was very impressed with them. I said that they ticked a lot of boxes. My NPV calculation was a 4x on their current market cap. There was huge support locally and with the government for the opening up of this mine. And that's a real rarity these days with mining stocks. And because it was a pre-existing mine, there was a lot of the infrastructure still there. You didn't have to pay to decline all the way down to the ore. Most of the mine is still there. So it's just a case of them coming out of their feasibility study, raising 120 odd million, and then building the processing plant. However, in my last video, I had a look at the only existing project plan for this project, which dated back to 2017. And I estimated that once you applied inflation to the all-in sustaining cash costs, according to my wonky maths, you'd need a $30,000 tin price for this project to go ahead. So this here is when I did that video and I decided to stay away. Now last month the share price took a massive dive on news that the CEO had abruptly left with only a couple of weeks' notice. However, the share price has shot back up and it's actually now at the same level to where it was for the last 6 months or so. And so I took a look at the tin price, and what do you know? It screamed right up and is now at about $35,000 per ton. So on Friday, I decided to invest in Cornish Metals. It's a speculative bet, so I'm only putting in 2% of my over portfolio value into this. I allow myself one of those every year. And this is my second and final one this year because I didn't do one last year. And so that's it. I've placed my bet. And this is purely a bet on the price of tin staying above 30,000. By my estimation, and remember I'm no expert, it would have to be above 30,000 for the whole thing to go ahead. It was very strange how the CEO just rapidly departed, and so there could be some big unknown there that's about to hit us in the face. So you're taking a risk as well about not knowing why it was that the CEO left without a buy or a leave. So that kind of completes my update here. I'm just really updating that I've decided to go in. And if you want to look into all the detail for this company, you will find it in these previous videos I've done. However, there have been quite a lot of RNSs come out since I did that video, so I'll just quickly go through those. So the first important one was in February this year, where they started to give some of the results from the wide formation drilling. So this wide formation is this geological formation here where they say there is tin. They'd previously done a number of drills, but they'd only hit this great flat lode. However, one of them that went deeper did find tin at this so-called wide formation. So they've been doing some follow-up drills to establish, does the tin run all the way along this formation here? So I actually plotted out the data that they've given so far. And, this is, I'm not like an expert on this. This is just kind of my own little crude assessment, but I do this anyway, just for some kind of ballpark. And this is the actual South Crofty mine itself. So you get some kind of idea. So you get some kind of idea of the tin grades and the amounts found at each of those points. And then this is also some additional work they did within the existing mine. So what we see is, although it's not as good as in the main mine itself, it is certainly a lot of these grades and a lot of these sample amounts, not quite as good, but not quite as good, but significant, I'd say. Significant to what you'd find in perhaps some of the lower producing areas of the existing mine. So I would say that was actually a positive RNS. I mean, this is where that formation is in the Carnbury South exploration area, and it does definitely support their assertions that these findings here will enable them to extend their resources and extend the mine life, because once you've mined down to that depth anyway in existing mine, it'll be very low cost for them to just extend outwards to add that resource to the amount of tin that they can extract. So although not a game changer, it certainly is a positive RNS. Then they had the RNS surrounding the refurbishment of the new cook's kitchen shaft. And so this says that they took a look at the previously submerged new cook kitchen shaft, and it was in great condition. So they've decided to start refurbishing it now, which is quite ahead of schedule. This is the task here in the overall project plan I put together. And so they're moving this forward. And so what they're doing is they've stopped the dewatering to keep it at a certain level, and that's going to save them 4 million, which they're then going to use to get the shaft in better order. So they've said that they're going to dewater to a certain level only, and this is going to save 4 million, which they can then use for refurbishment. And this just makes sense to me because it means they can get the mine in terms of this shaft in a better situation first. And then once they're more confident in the financial investment decision, then spend that money on the increased dewatering. Then, however, on the 15th of March, we had this very alarming sudden departure of the CEO. When you look at the date of the release and the date of his departure, they're essentially just giving him 2 weeks' notice to get out. And this is actually a big risk that you carry if you invest in Cornish Metals, because it's very unusual for this to happen. And so you don't know if there's some massive clangor about to come in. The reason why he left, it could be something very serious. We then had the release of the financial statements for the year end. Again, if you go back to my previous video, I go into this with exacting detail, but just briefly, they've now actually changed their year-end reporting to December, where it used to be the end of January, and that's why we have two 2022s here, because of that 1 month slip back. And I think obviously it's much better to do your reporting to end of year. There's not really much to talk about. There's nothing we didn't already know. They've still got 26 million in the bank, and this will get used up over the next year as they dewater the mine and do the refurbishment work and other general setup at the mine site. And then really this stock is all about the final investment decision. If the tin price is high enough, they should get that and it's all go. Or if the tin price isn't high enough, it won't ever happen, and the share price will go down a very, very large amount. So then finally, last week, we got this headline that the preliminary economic assessment is on track for delivery in Q2 2024. So within the next few months, they tell us that they're maintaining the water level at 280 meters, but they also signpost this $30,000 number here, where they say that the tin price has surpassed $30,000. I find it interesting that they signpost that 30,000 number, obviously, because that's a number that I got to when I did an analysis of the numbers that were available to me. And following that RNS, the share price went up a lot. I guess a lot of that could be the tin price, and a lot of that could be dispelling uncertainty about the actual PEA actually even happening following this CEO's departure. But the situation now is we're at a similar share price that we have been for a long time, even when we had much lower tin prices. We have this risk of, why did the CEO leave? We don't understand why. And that is a big risk to consider. But essentially now, Cornish Metals is a bet on what will happen to the tin price. Will it stay at this level or go higher? Or if it crashes down, then you'll be losing money very quickly. I noticed when I went in actually on Friday that it had hit this resistance here and then powered out upwards and then powered upwards out of it. And I noticed that that resistance there aligned with the previous high, and then also was like an area of resistance as well previously. So for me, this number here at about, let's say, $32,000 tin is a good kind of bottom to look for. So as long as it stays above that, I won't be thinking about this stock too much. But it really will be panic stations if we see it go below that level. Remember that I'm not like a total expert or any kind of consultant or anything. This is just me vlogging my own investment ideas. So take it all with a pinch of salt. So make sure you speak to that financial advisor, and good luck with your own investments. I do videos like this one just for fun as a hobby. It's for entertainment purposes only. Always consult a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decision.